Hello, everyone. This is actually video take 3 for anyone who is catching this live. If you don't know me, my name is Jill Coletti, and I help moms who feel like a little bit lost, but know there's like way more to life, feeling stuck in Groundhog Day, but like desire more for themselves, for their family, and start creating a life that they love, right? And part of that journey has brought me with the amazing Natalie Rodriguez, who's joining me today, and the Invincible Family Project. And so, for some of you who have maybe seen the Invincible Family Project, maybe some of the other videos, or authors who, I've chatted with, the project itself, and here I'll show you the book. Here's the book. We're both on here. Let's see, where are you? There's Natalie here, and I am somewhere over here. So there's 26 authors total in this, right? 26 or 25? 26.
I think 6.
Yeah, total, like, I don't know how many in this collaboration. And what I love about this collaboration is that you can really relate to the stories. And so I'm excited to bring you on today, Natalie, and thank you so much for joining me. I just refreshed myself and like read your story again, and there were so many Me Too moments that I'm just like really excited to have you on and share. The project itself, the title, the Invincible Family Project, is Everyday Families Creating Hope for Their Future. And that's, oh, and I just got the chills. And that's what I'm doing. That's what you're doing for our own families, right? But then we're also helping other people. So along this journey. So I would love it if you would, again, thank you so much for being here. If you just maybe share a little bit about you and who you are and what this project itself means to you.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Jill. So my name is Natalie, and I am a wife. I am a mom to an 8-year-old and a 4-month-old. I just turned 40 last year, and for pretty much my whole life, just about, I've dealt with shame and grief that was not really processed because my mom passed away when I was 14. And I always had the dream of working for myself. And at the same time being a stay-at-home mom. I'm very driven. So and there's nothing wrong with it, but just being a stay-at-home mom was not what I desired. But I did want to be with my children. I knew I wanted to spend as much time as possible with my children. But because of all of the shame and grief and anxiety that I dealt with, I got to a point where I just really didn't believe that that was ever possible for me. So I did what everybody around me was doing, what a lot of women, families at least in the US do, which is I got married, I had a baby, and then at 12 weeks old, I stuck him in the care of somebody else. And they were the ones who got to see his first steps and, got to see all of this first. And it just broke my heart. But at that point, I really felt like that was the way it had to be. That was the only way it could ever be. I had just completely lost faith in myself, and the possibility of something better. And I talk about in the book, in my chapter, I talk about how I can distinctly remember one day at work, just fighting back tears, wondering if this is really all that life has to offer me, constantly struggling financially, constantly struggling in my marriage, and not being able to spend time with my son. Like, what's the point anymore of life? Fortunately, not long after that, a friend of mine, Megan Dale, who is also in the book, shared with me that she was following a new mentor and that she had just joined her program, which is HBR, and that she thought it would be a really good fit for me and that she believed in me. And I thank God that she believed in me and that she spoke words of life over me, because if it weren't for her, I honestly don't know where I would be right now. But instead, because she believed in me, and slowly through HBR and Big Think, I started to gain belief back in myself. I mean, we now have another son. We just moved from Florida to Georgia, which was a dream of ours that we never really thought was possible. And now I'm building a business from home and I'm homeschooling my son. And like, honestly, it's kind of scary to think, what if she hadn't shared that with me? So yeah,
I
that's
have chills over like literally my entire body, head to toe, just listening. And like, I read your chapter, obviously, and there's more details in there. So for anyone who watches this, I think you will really resonate with the story. Just the fact that like Megan spoke that life into you, right? There is, I have had my moments where I didn't have that support and I haven't believed in myself.
mm-hmm.
And the fact that you had that one person, right, that spoke
Yeah.
that to you is huge, and is just like such an amazing, like, I'm sure you now probably sit there and think like, okay, well now I can be that person to other people, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that you change, and I think that's one of the biggest things for me, is like, now you believe in yourself and look at what your life has literally done, like a 180 from, there were so many times, because I'm ex-corporate world, so I was in the corporate world for more than half of my adult life. Welcome to the 40s, by the way. Like, my 40s have been probably some of my best years, you know, because I have had the courage and taken the risks, right, of doing
mm-hmm.
the things. But being like in a cubicle, wishing, like you said, like wishing your life, like there's gotta be more. There's gotta be more. But yet feeling ashamed, feeling some shame because like you have so much, right? Like that's
Yeah.
how, at least how I have felt, like, but I have so much. But
Right.
never felt like it was what I was called, or how I was called to live my life. So I
Exactly.
never felt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I can just be real for a minute, like,
Oh yeah.
I still struggle with my beliefs sometimes. Like right now, this newborn phase is a really big struggle.
Yeah.
And being in a new place and homeschooling for the first time, I still struggle with belief, but now I have that foundation, that core, and I know where to go when I do start to doubt myself. So it's not about being perfect. It's not about like, oh, I'm cured and everything is sunshine and rainbows now, because it isn't always. But now I know what to do when my faith starts to slip. And like, I'm a huge advocate for therapy too. And that's one of the things that I just did for myself, is I went and was like, look, it's time. I need to go back and see a therapist again, because there's a lot going on. And sometimes it just helps to process it with somebody else. But I have that, and I've started going through Big Think again and just starting over again, because I know that I need that now in this season.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can really, I love that you mentioned that, because that's like a form of self-care, right? And like, we
Absolutely.
should never feel, I know there were years for me that I probably should have gone to a therapist, and I just felt like I can just keep going. I can just keep trudging along and
Yeah.
keep going. I believe I had postpartum. I believe there was a lot of things, and I just like kept trudging away. And I
Yep. And
was like on the back burner.
it's usually one of those two things. It's either I can do it, I don't need anybody to help me, or I'm going to look like I'm failing and everybody's going to judge me. And there's so much shame associated with seeing a therapist. It means there's something wrong with me. One of those things is what keeps people away from therapy. And it doesn't have to be either of those.
Yeah. Or a combination of both. I think I had both of those at some point.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you know, I can do it, you know, I don't want to give up. Right. But that's actually like showing love for yourself. But there was so long that I was so anti that, right?
Yeah.
And then there's coaches that do different things, right? So, and I
Hmm.
know you coach people, and
Yeah.
that's different. Some people need therapy, some people need coaches, some need it all, and
Yeah.
we got all the things that can help. Um, and I love, so you've mentioned HBR and you've
Hmm.
mentioned the big thing, and both of those. So HBR stands for the home-based revolution, which is how the book collaboration even came about, how like I even got connected with Natalie is like through the book and all that. And this was Martha Krejci, which is our mentor, who is the creator of this book, the initial creator of this, who brought all of us together. HBR, or home based revolution, is like how to develop the business stuff, right?
Hmm.
Multiple income streams and do it so you're not like salesy, sleazy, weird, that kind of stuff. And how do you develop on the business side? And then you mentioned Big Think, which I also have done. And I'm going back through it again as well. And that's all about mindset.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like, for at least for me and a lot of people, another big thing too is like support and community. So you
Yeah.
had Megan, who like brought you kind of into this community and
Mhm.
into this business and believed in you. And now I know for me, there are many women that are part of this book, that are part of HBR, that are part of the Big Think, that I've met through Martha all over the world, right?
Mhm.
That some of them I feel closer to that I've never physically met in person
Yeah.
than people that I've known for years.
Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned that too, because like that's another thing that's really helping me through this season is just having really good friends, really good community that can support me. And a lot of them are people that I met through HBR, just saying, it's okay. This is a hard season. Newborn season is a very hard season, and you don't have to do all of the things. And what can I do to help you?
Yeah, right. I love that. And I think the more we talk about this kind of stuff, and this is what I loved, like when I was reading your story, I was literally, like I told you before we even went live for the third time, that I could just relate. I think that's what's really cool about this book, right? Every
Hmm.
story that I've read in here, I've related to in some way, shape, or form,
Yeah.
right? I may not have gone through the same things, but I can relate to it and really feel it.
Yeah.
And when I was reading your story, so much of it, and I feel like there's so many people who have struggled with anxiety, who have struggled with depression,
Yeah.
who have struggled with like mom life versus work life and wanting,
Especially right now. Yeah.
yes, yes. There were so many times, like I remember going back after and I think with my daughter, it was like only like 9 weeks I took off, and she was my
Yeah.
firstborn, and I cried and
Hmm.
cried and cried for days, like
Yeah.
not wanting to leave her with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I did it for years, and I just did not feel fulfilled in that way. Other
Yeah.
people, but I do desire to work as well. Like I desire to work, but I also desire to be there for my family. How do we do that together?
Yeah.
And how do we create the lives that we desire? And how do we create the legacy that we're looking for? Right. And everybody's is different, right? Everybody's version is a little bit different. You were also in the book collaboration, The Truth About Success, too, correct?
Yes, I was.
So I think, and I have that one too, because I was in that
Me
with you. So here's
too.
two books, right? And I know this is all about the Invisible Family Project, but I would love to just hear your thoughts on being in a book. How has that
For,
changed your life?
for me, it's been awesome because that's something that I've always had on my heart is to write my own book, write my own story about um the grief that I felt about losing my mom when I was 14, and just honestly how it practically tore my life apart. Like I did not process the grief at all. I did not process the shame associated with it at all. I just shoved it down, pretended it didn't exist, put on, you know, a strong face and just pretended like nothing had happened. And it just ate away at me as the years went on, until it came to a head when after I had my son, and my anxiety just was completely out of control. But I wanted to share that story in detail and share about the whole grief aspect, as far as like how if you don't process it, it's going to destroy your life. You can't live a full life if you're sitting on that pain. So I had always wanted to write a book, but like writing a book is no joke. It's a big project.
I know,
So
right?
being in a book collaboration has been awesome because it gives me that experience of like writing a little bit and somebody else is taking the pressure off of me so that I don't have to figure out all the things about publishing it and editing and all of that kind of stuff. I can just focus on writing my short chapter and even like the book launch and everything and interviewing. It's not all falling on me all right away. So it's been a really awesome learning experience for me.
I love it.
So I would highly recommend it.
Same, and I tell everybody, like, I know, like, get in a book collaboration, write a book, because I remember feeling so proud of myself, like feeling nauseous when I actually committed to it, like so nauseous.
Yeah.
But then feel like when my kids like held the book in their hand and were like, "Mom, that's you," I was like, I've never felt so proud. And I think that's what I love too about your story is like you processing the grief, you feeling the feelings, you changing your lifestyle, like moving, changing jobs, starting homeschool. I mean, having another child, you have done so much literally in just like the past year, right? All because you are creating a life that you love, like the life that you desire, right?
Right. I'm
How
no
do you,
longer living by somebody else's standard of success.
yes. Where do you see like yourself and your family as you create that invincible family? Like, where do you see life going?
I think the possibilities are endless, honestly. Especially learning from people like Martha and Megan Larson. Because I mean, like Martha's done it. She's and has broken it all down for us. All we have to do is follow directions, and we can have that same incredible life of, writing books and mentoring people and booking speaking engagements and interviews and stuff and helping change other people's lives as long as we're willing to follow directions.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear just like what anything that you'd love to share like about what you're doing now. I did save on here for anyone watching. There's a link to connect with you. I will also share a link for HBR and the Big Think that we were talking about. I'll put that in the comments for everybody. And like links for the books and stuff. But I'd love to just, anything that you'd like to share about how you can help people or ways that would be a great, if there's a great way for them to connect with you, if anyone's interested in, chatting more about with you.
Sure. Well, my like baby right now is my Working Moms with Anxiety group, where I'm really starting to ramp up my training in there and teaching things like budgeting and home management and showing where I learned the skills to kind of take some of the pressure off of me so I didn't feel so much anxiety as a working mom, because I feel like society like wants us to be mothers and do all of the mother stuff, but then also like taking care of the house and taking care of the finances and taking care of the kids, but also wants us to do all of the work things, work a full-time job, and, you know, have a successful career. And it's so overwhelming to do it all at the same time. So finding ways to, like, I guess, hack
I love
life
that. Yeah.
and, you know, make things easier. That's what I'm doing in there is a lot of training on how to make your life easier, and things like defining success for yourself and how to increase your belief in yourself, that kind of stuff. And then I also have one-on-one coaching where we do an initial one-on-one conversation, and we kind of map out where you would like to go and make a plan of how to get you from feeling overwhelmed and anxious and maybe, like I was, wondering what the point of life is, to feeling that freedom and relief and hope for the future.
I love that. Ooh, I just got the chills again. Man, I'm like all about chills. I love that. I mean, yeah, your group sounds amazing because I agree with you. There's so much pressure on
So much fun.
moms and women in general, but like especially moms, right? To work
Yeah.
and take care of the house and the children and do all the things. And we feel less than when we don't get it all done, and then our anxiety skyrockets, right? So all those tips and tricks, and what's cool is because you've done it, so now you're like, okay, I'm gonna save you all this time and energy to figure out what reduces that anxiety, and I'm gonna help you do that. So that's awesome. I love it. You're changing lives. I mean, look at how much you've changed you and your family's lives by doing this, right? And
Yeah.
I'm really excited I'm like happy to know you and excited that we got connected through the book. And I'm so excited to kind of see where your, future for you and your family go. And yeah, I appreciate you being here. If anyone is interested in connecting with Natalie, just hop on the link that I have on there, and can you find your Facebook
Yep.
group and stuff right through that, right? Okay.
Yeah, from that link you can find my website, my blog, and my group.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. I appreciate you spending time out of your
Thank you so
family
much.
day. I know it's a Sunday. I really appreciate your time, and it was really awesome to talk to you today.
Yeah, you too.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.